Most people go their entire lives without ever discovering what they're truly good at, not because they don't have strengths, but because they never stopped to look for them. They were too busy fixing their weaknesses, chasing someone else's definition of success, or trying to be everything except themselves. But your real strength is already there, hiding in the things you ignore, or do so naturally that you forget how rare they are. You are not weak. You're just too focused on the wrong things. We grow up learning how to spot what's wrong with us, what we need to fix or what we lack. That becomes our default lens. You fail a test, and everyone talks about the mistake. You speak up, and they highlight what you said wrong. You try something new, and all you hear is how you could have done it better. Little by little, your brain becomes an expert at noticing flaws, and blind to your own power. This is why so many people go through life believing they're average, why they think they're not good enough, or that they have nothing special to offer. It's not because they're truly lacking. It's because they've been trained, by society, by school, sometimes by their own families, to only see what's broken. But here's the truth most people miss. Your strengths are often quiet. They're not loud or flashy. They don't scream for attention. They don't always come with praise. They're the things you do naturally, without effort, without realizing others might struggle with them. They're hidden in your habits, in the way you listen to a friend, in how you stay calm when others panic, in how you find words when others are silent, or silence when others only know noise. And because these things feel normal to you, you don't label them as strengths. You underestimate them. You ignore them. You think, but everyone can do this, right? No, they can't. That's the trap. What feels ordinary to you is often extraordinary to someone else. And it gets worse when you compare yourself constantly, because you're measuring your backstage against someone else's highlight reel. You see their success, their confidence, their talent, but you don't see their doubt, their fear, their long nights of second-guessing. So you think, they're strong and I'm not. They have something I don't. When in reality, you just haven't looked inward long enough to see what's already there. We've been taught to search for validation out there, in grades, in promotions, in applause. But your real strength won't always get applause. Sometimes it just sits in silence, waiting for you to notice. So ask yourself, what if I've been strong this whole time, just in ways the world doesn't reward loudly? Because here's what you need to hear. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it's just consistent. Sometimes it's the thing you do without even knowing it's rare. And sometimes it's the one thing you've been overlooking your entire life. Your real strengths aren't always what you've been told to value. They're what you do naturally, when no one is watching, and when you're finally being yourself. We often think of strengths as skills listed on a resume. Good with numbers, great at public speaking, fast learner. But that's not the full picture. Real strengths go deeper than surface-level skills. They're not just what you can do, they're what you do effortlessly, instinctively, and repeatedly, even when no one asks. Your true strengths are the traits, tendencies, and values that keep showing up, not because you try, but because they're part of who you are. Think about it. Are you the one friends always come to for advice? Do you naturally stay calm in chaotic situations? Is curiosity something that drives you to learn more, not for a reward, but for the sake of understanding? These are not just personality traits. They are core strengths, and they have more power than you think. According to experts, strengths are typically categorized into 3 key types. Personal strengths come from your nature, your way of thinking, feeling, and behaving. They include things like adaptability, resilience, self-awareness, creativity, and emotional intelligence. They help you navigate life, not by force, but through flow. Professional strengths are skills and capabilities you've developed over time that help you in the workplace, such as leadership, time management, strategic thinking, communication, and problem-solving. These strengths are useful, yes, but they often stem from deeper, more personal ones. For example, you might be a great communicator professionally because you have empathy and active listening as personal strengths. Character strengths are the values that define how you interact with the world. Things like honesty, humility, kindness, courage, and patience. They're not always rewarded in traditional environments, but they build trust, connection, and authenticity, and they're often the foundation for meaningful relationships. The key is this: your strengths aren't limited to what gets applause. Sometimes they're quiet. Sometimes they go unnoticed because they feel too natural to seem important. But they're there, guiding your decisions, shaping your relationships, and building the story of who you are. That's why discovering them isn't about learning something new. It's about remembering something you've always had. So next time you feel not good enough, stop and ask, what do I always do well, even without trying? What do people consistently thank me for? What feels easy to me but seems difficult for others? The answers to those questions are not coincidences. They're the fingerprints of your natural gifts. And when you start recognizing your true strengths, not the ones someone else assigned to you, but the ones that are yours, you stop chasing a version of success that doesn't fit. You build a life that's aligned with who you really are. Your strengths are not always what you've mastered. Sometimes they're what you've never questioned, because they've always been there. You're not here to become someone else. You're here to uncover who you've been all along. Discovering your strengths is not about reinventing yourself. It's about noticing what's already there, hidden in plain sight. You don't need a life-changing event to figure it out. You just need to slow down and start paying attention. Here are 7 practical ways to begin identifying your true strengths. Observe what energizes you. Strengths are not just things you're good at. They're things that light you up. When do you feel most alive? Which tasks leave you energized instead of drained? That feeling isn't random, it's a signal. Your strengths give you energy, they don't take it away. Look for repeated patterns. Excellence leaves traces. If something shows up in your life again and again, it's not by accident, it's part of who you are. Think back, what are the situations where you naturally perform well? What compliments have you received more than once? Those patterns are clues, start connecting the dots. Listen to the praise you tend to dismiss. We often ignore our strengths because they feel too easy. So when someone says, "You're really good at this," we shrug and think, but that's just normal. What you call normal might be your gift. Don't downplay compliments. Write them down, reflect on them later. They might be pointing to something deeper. Ask people you trust. Sometimes others see in us what we overlook. So ask a friend, a mentor, a partner, "What do you think I'm naturally good at?" You'll be surprised by how accurate the answers can be. We don't live in isolation, and perspective from the outside can help you reconnect with your inside. Notice what you do without thinking. Do you naturally take charge in group settings? Are you always the one people turn to when they need comfort? Do you intuitively know how to solve problems? These instincts are often tied to core strengths. You're not forcing it, you're just being you, and that's the point. Reflect on your wins, big or small. Think about moments in your life when you felt proud, even if they seemed small to others. What were you doing? What strength made that outcome possible? You don't need a trophy to validate your strength. You just need to recognize your own effort. Pay attention to what you're drawn to. Sometimes, the things you love point straight to your strengths. What topics make you lose track of time? What kind of problems do you enjoy solving? What kind of people do you feel naturally connected to? Your passions and your strengths often walk hand in hand. Where there is interest, there is often ability. It might help if keep a journal of weekly reflections and try new things. Sometimes your strength is hiding in what you haven't tried yet. What you don't use, you lose. Strengths are like muscles. They grow when you use them. Discovering your strengths is powerful. But what you do with them, that's what changes your life. You might know you're resilient, or that you're a good listener, or that you thrive in creative chaos. But unless you find ways to apply that in your day-to-day, it remains untapped potential. So here's how you turn strength into impact, and potential into progress. Use them every day if you can. The fastest way to develop a strength is to use it. Find opportunities in your daily routine, relationships, or work life. Good with words? Write more. Great at organizing? Help structure a team project. Natural at calming people down? Step into moments of tension. Small, repeated actions turn natural abilities into sharpened tools. Align your goals with your strengths. You don't have to chase the same version of success as everyone else. When you set goals that match who you are, you stop fighting yourself. If you're empathetic, maybe you're meant to help people. If you're curious, maybe you're built to learn and teach. If you're strategic, maybe it's time to lead or build. Let your strengths guide the direction, not just the method. Don't just stay comfortable. Stretch your strengths, challenge them. If you're good at speaking, try a new audience. If you're creative, build something with higher stakes. If you're great under pressure, test that under new contexts. Growth happens when strengths are pushed, but not when they're ignored. Pair strengths together. Strengths often work best in combinations. Creativity and persistence equals innovation. Empathy and communication equals powerful leadership. Curiosity and discipline equals deep expertise. Don't isolate what you're good at. Mix it, layer it, and evolve it. That's how you build a version of yourself that's not just skilled, but dynamic. Know when to say no. Knowing your strengths also means knowing your boundaries. You can't do everything. You don't have to be good at everything. Spend more time doing what you naturally do well, and less time forcing what drains you. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Create an environment that supports you. Your surroundings matter. If you're in a place that suppresses your strengths, your light gets dimmed. Seek teams, projects, or spaces where your abilities are seen and appreciated. Build relationships with people who remind you of your value, not your flaws. Growth needs the right soil. Don't keep planting your strengths in toxic ground. Celebrate progress, not just outcomes. It's not about being the best. It's about being more of yourself, on purpose. Track small wins. Acknowledge the moments where your strength made a difference. Reflect on how far you've come, even if no one else noticed. Validation doesn't always come from outside. Sometimes, the most powerful growth is quiet. Strength is not who you pretend to be. It's who you are when you stop pretending. Your strengths are not decorations. They're tools, they're weapons, they're bridges. Use them, sharpen them, and build something with them, a life that actually fits you. Before we end this conversation, I'd like to offer a simple reflection exercise, a small homework to help you on your journey to discover your strengths. Ask yourself, what do I do well, without even trying? When do I feel most alive, most like myself? What do people often thank me for, that I tend to dismiss? What did I love doing as a child? What drains me, and what gives me energy even on bad days? Enjoying the quiet moments of reflection? Like and subscribe, stay close.